Hi guys, I'm back to do another chess beginner video analysis. This video is from a user who wrote me and said that he only takes serious classical and rapid, and he would appreciate the help. So I loaded one of his game here. That is it's a longer game, and I looked at his account. He plays primarily classical, so that's really good. Keep doing that, and he also does a lot of tactics training, and keep doing that as well. That's good. Keep that up. Longer time control is good for improvement. So Watah is his name, and chess is his game. No, and so he's white here. He played the Radi opening. I don't know it that well at all, so I can't comment on theory very much here. But it looks like he did fine in the opening. So something I would like to talk about here is, so Watah played Queen E1. I don't like this move for many reasons. First of all, I think it's way too slow of a move, and it's not really accomplishing anything. A much better move would just be to develop, a minor piece in some capacity, or maybe like a E3 move. But I think his idea was that he was concerned about his F2 square. And what should be noted is that personally, I used to think this as well, not even that long ago, but I used to think that this type of exchange, like let's just say white makes a random move, I used to think that this type of exchange was good for the attacker, like in this case black, because we get a rook and a pawn for a knight and bishop. It's equal material, but white has had to give up his F2 pawn and move his king out, a little dangerous. But actually, as I got a little bit better and watched some YouTube videos, this is actually really favoring well, not really, but it's favoring the side a little bit for that gets the two minor pieces. So it's actually favoring white here if black does this or this, whatever. It actually favors white. So even though that, yeah, his structure is a little bit compromised and the king is on F2, the fact is that white has 4 minor pieces. 4. Black only has 2, and yeah, it has an extra rook, but these rooks are not developed. They're not doing anything. In the middle game, minor pieces are way better. Like I'd much rather have 2 minor pieces than a rook in the middle game. Because the rook it's going to take forever to get developed, and it's just there's too many pieces on board for the rook to be effective. It's really hard. There's too many pawns in the way, and your minor pieces they can just synergize way too well together. So this really favors white. So for example, even in the evaluation here, you can see it's plus 1.7 for white. So it's much better for white. Whereas in this position, before black even threatens this, it's equal. Okay, so let me turn off the engine here. So if white was scared of this, shouldn't be. He should be encouraging that trade. It's much better for white if black were to do that. A3, I think there may have been a better move. I understand why, because you're wanting to stop the knight from coming into B4 and threatening taking C2. But again, this queen move was too passive, because if the queen was still on its original square of D1, that wouldn't be a concern at all, because the queen would be defending C2 here. But I don't hate A3. I just think it's a little slow. I think it's okay, though. Not a huge fan of knight BD2. I think, I understand the idea is, I think Watah wants to play reroute the knight to knight b3, which would be a decent square. The problem is there's a pawn here, so black could just immediately play a4 here, and then taking away that square from the knight, which is what he ends up playing actually. So white response was b4. I think it might be okay. I think taking here is fine. I'm just also entertaining the idea of Rook b1 possibly. So that just drops a pawn here, a fork. So I noticed right on the clock here, 14:50. So Black only actually used 10 seconds of his time here. Yeah, there's increment, but that doesn't matter. The fact is that Black still only used 10 seconds of his time. Like Black still has 14 minutes and 50 seconds left, and it's move 11. How long did he think on this move? Because of the increment, it looks like he spent 15 seconds. 15.1 seconds on this move, something like that. If he had just thought a little bit longer, took his time a little bit more, he probably wouldn't have dropped this pawn, and so he loses a pawn and the exchange. So that's pretty terrible. That's the 3 points right there that he loses because he played too quickly. So Watah, if you're watching, you got to slow down. You're moving way too fast here. I probably spent more time on this video analyzing so far than you actually played in the game. So there's some counterplay here because Black decided to defend his knight instead of taking the rook. So White got a little lucky here. Yeah, Black's in trouble. Not so sure about bishop h3. The thing that scares me is that the bishop is undefended. It doesn't look like Black has any immediate decent discoveries against the bishop. But I think if Black were to move the queen out, that could possibly be a problem. Maybe, I guess he can't go there because of the bishop. Maybe a check here. That could be an issue, and then like a check there, and then I'm not really sure the follow-up after that, but I don't know. The bishop h3 just kind of worries me a little bit. I don't really like having the bishop undefended like that. I think ed5 is okay. Just so many good options here for White. It's hard to choose what's best. Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the engine here, and engine is actually recommending bishop takes g4. I'm trying to see. I guess I'm not sure. Bishop takes g4. What's the idea behind that? Put on the engine. No, wait. What? Oh no. Oh, then it's what? Bishop takes g4. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my too early in the morning for me. Bishop takes g4. Yeah, I was wondering why it's taking the pawn. I was wondering why it was suggesting that. I'm like, what? I thought there's some crazy tactic I missed. Yeah, so it's recommending just taking here first. Yeah, so you do have a check here. I'm not sure if that's worth it though. Check takes check, but then you could pick up the rook, it looks like. So it looks like there's a tactic here. Like, it's the first thing I looked at was queen takes. I was looking at, this, but then the knight just recaptured, so that's no good. But if we change the move order and if we take with the rook, so check, if knight captures, we take back. We're actually only down a pawn in this instance. And then it looks like we can pick up the rook here. So check and check. This does nothing. I guess it might even be the best option though. Well, I guess it can't be done. You're in check, right? So yeah, that just looks pretty good. We did give up a rook for a knight and a pawn, but We've removed his attacking knight. How will we continue from here, though? Probably check. And then that's getting pretty dangerous here. We could either pick up the pawn or like rook c2. That's looking pretty good. Black can't even check us in any capacity here. So I think that's good. I think taking rook here would be a good move. I don't blame you for making a move like this. But you have so much time on the clock. You certainly have time in these positions to be looking for better moves. You've only used 40 seconds. You got to be taking your time. You got to be using your time. You should not be moving so quickly. Queen g2. I see losing a rook after that. Queen g2. If queen takes, then there's a fork. That's what I see. I guess you would take this way, but then you still lose the exchange. So if you take with the rook, you still lose the exchange here. I don't think there's a Zwischenzug available. I guess you go this way, but you're still losing a pawn in that exchange. I mean, yeah, so you got to be careful about that. Again, you're moving too quickly. Because once you move the queen out, the first thing I see is this square. I see this fork. So, yeah, let's see what Stockfish says. So this is from plus 1.9 or from plus 2 to minus 0.7. Yeah, and it's saying, yeah, black just takes here. And yeah, same thing I looked at. And I was thinking, I thought here, but it's actually saying there's a better move. It says it's actually saying rook h5 is better for some reason. Not quite sure why. But yeah, so just be a little bit careful about those tactical opportunities for your opponent. Let me turn off the engine. Yeah, that's what happened. And you took it as a king too. So even here, well, I guess you didn't see the fork at this point. So, okay. But let's say you did see the fork. It would have been better to take with the rook, right? Because instead of losing a full rook, a full clean rook, you're only losing the exchange because you trade the rook for the knight. So the number one thing from this game, you got to slow down, man. You're playing way too fast. And again, same thing. Oh, you got burned twice by this. Yeah. Yeah, this is completely over. Yeah, is that mate? Looks like it's a mate. Yeah, okay, so again, as I say in a lot of these videos, you got to slow down. You're playing a classical game. You have so much time. Your opponent did pretty good with his time. Yeah, you moved just way too fast. 14 minutes, 20 seconds left after 36 moves. You got to slow down. It's the number one thing you can do. Slow down. Use your time. Think. You're playing like a bullet game, almost. Like the other thing I want to tell you is that again, this classical trade, is always better, or not always, but almost always better for the side that's giving up the rook and pawn for the two minor pieces. I wasn't hot about this knight move, and yeah, you got to be careful again about these. This is actually you got burned by 3 forks this game. Got to watch those knights. Yeah. So watch those knights. Slow down. Use your time. Okay. And that will really help you a lot. Just slow down. Slow down, man. Slow down and use your time. Okay, anyways, I hope this video helped you. If anyone wants their video analyzed, you can send me a message, or if you want private coaching, you can send me a message. Okay, thank you.